Alright. Hey guys, my name is Tejas Lagwankar and I'm an Android application developer and that automatically makes me a Google Glass developer. Today I'm going to talk about some of the things, like very few slides, but some of the gotchas that I came across. And like since this is a presentation, there are certain things that can go wrong. So let me put a disclaimer there. Yeah, so like fun thing about demos is I think the first gotcha when it comes to Google Glass. Because yeah, I mean I can connect it using the Android screen monitor and show you what I see on the screen over there. But it's really, I mean, the best way to have a demo of the application is to actually like, wear the device and see how it works for you. But yeah, I mean, these are early days and there are different tools coming up, like I know Oscar, who is in the room somewhere, he's developing the tool to better visualize things. So yeah, I mean, it's a new platform and things will evolve. Yeah. Talking of a new platform, right, there is always an excitement. Everyone has their own different motives behind it. So whatever your motive be, it's the mask with a lot of base. It's probably not good. Anyway, so whatever your motive be, there is definitely an excitement around any new technology, right? So that's what drove me to, yeah, there you go. To try on like Google Glass and write apps for it. So let me directly dive into the gotchas. So live cards. How many of you are GDK developers or Android developers for that matter? Okay. So live cards is one of the ways you display information, like put information in the timeline of the glass. And usually what you do is there's a timeline manager class that comes with the GDK. You create a live card using that. Then you decide your rendering method depending on if you want it to be like a low frequency updating card or high frequency updating card. So the first one uses remote views, which is a low frequency, and the second uses high frequency where you actually get the surface. And you can do advanced graphic stuff on it. And then when you're done, you have to set a menu activity to it using the set action command, and then you publish the card. That is when it will be put into the timeline. When I started, I said, okay, let me not touch the code which is available out there. Let me try from scratch and just put like a hello world live card in the timeline. And I said, I don't need any actions on it, so I omitted these two lines, basically the set action line, and for some reason the live card never showed up. And I was like staring at the logcat to find something which is relevant. So right now the thing is, it kind of silently fails. It has to have the set action on it. I mean, I think the purpose behind this is there should be a way for the user to remove, to be able to remove your live card from the timeline, and you should provide that using a menu activity in which there will be an action to remove the live card. So, pretty small thing, but yeah, could save you some time. Then I started developing more, some of you, yes?
Are you going to make these slides available?
Yes, yeah. I haven't decided how, but I'll let you. So many of you might probably know that I'm writing applications around music and music education. So before starting, I'll just take a quick demo of, and since demos can go wrong, I just compile a video out of it. For some reason, I don't have network there. So you say, okay, Glass, play a chord. And you say a name of the chord, and it will show you the chord. Right now it's showing the chord, like the guitar position for the chord, and you can swipe between multiple positions. And again, like the menu shows to play the chord where it plays the sound of the chord through the glass speakers. So that's the basic app. So I'm still having some issues regarding the voice input. First of all, right now voice recognition requires network connection. So even if my chords database is downloaded on the device, even if like if I say C major or D major, for the string to be recognized, it has to go to Google servers. If you're using the standard recognition intent, it goes to Google, it recognizes the string and sends you back, then you compare it and match it to your database and stuff. But yeah, if you don't have network, even if the chords database is downloaded, the app is kind of useless right now. Second thing is around single letter recognition. In music, you have like music notes, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It does pretty good job at recognizing like C major, G major, but whenever I say like A major or E major, it goes foobar. So that brings me to like domain-specific voice recognition, right? So I know my application is a music-related application. So maybe like I know there are some people writing apps for medical stuff. Some maybe like sports-related. So there should be a good way of letting Google know that if this is the app, it falls in this category, and like this is the vocabulary for the app. So I think that's still an open question over there, but that is one of the issues you might come across. So here's another demo of like a broader vision I'm working towards. This is a hack I put together at the Google Glass Hackathon, the GDK one, and it is called NavChords. And yeah. This one is useful when you want to like play a song, when you have like an instrument in your hand. You search for a song, it will search a mysterious database, it will show the song, and then when you say start, it will give you like a countdown, like a count in, and it will start playing the song. When I say playing, it just shows you the chords and the lyrics for the song, and it auto advances depending on what the speed of the song is, and it like goes to the end. And for your reference, a small metronome click will play in the speakers. So yeah, so basically this is the app. So with these two apps that I'm doing, I came across like how do you control the screen. What happens is after some time, the display times out, as you know. Both of these apps that I'm developing are implemented as immersions, which are analogous to Android activities. So from the timeline, whenever you start the app, an immersion or an activity takes the control of the screen, and your timeline app is gone in the background. But after some time, the display times out, and if it is when you try to say tap the screen, or when you try to activate glass, the timeline application comes in front and your application is just gone. So there are a couple of ways you can work around this. First is if you want to keep the screen on all the time when your app is running, this can be useful in like games or even in the NavChords app, the second demo. The code at the bottom of it is a standard Android way of telling the system that don't like keep the screen on all the time. I'm not sure whether this will be a recommended way, or maybe Google will probably scrutinize this, but maybe a valid case for certain apps, but obviously a battery drainer. Another way of going around this is to use the immersive flag. So in your activity, which shows, say in my case, the first demo you saw, the chords app. So the chord position is showing on the screen, and I can say that that activity is an immersive activity. So when we specify that an activity is immersive activity, no other activities or notifications are allowed to disturb that activity, so it remains in the front. So now the timeline activity won't be able to take precedence. So even if the display times out, and after some time you look up or like whenever you activate glass, your activity still remains in the front. So that is a useful tip I found out. So yeah, I mean that's the couple of things I wanted to talk about, which was screen control and voice recognition that I've come across. Thank you. You can take questions later.
Any questions? No?
No. When you keep the screen on all the time, what was your experience regarding battery usage?
I don't know numbers on it, but two things might happen. The battery will run down quickly and the glass heats up.
Yeah. Overheating.
How much of the processing is done on the phone versus on the Google Glass equipment?
For voice recognition?
For any of your projects, is any of it done on the phone or is it all just in the glass device?
It's on the glass device. What do you mean by phone?
So if you didn't have your phone with you, everything would still work the same way?
It still requires network connectivity, so if you're on Wi-Fi, it will probably work. It uses phone only for connection.
Is it possible to recognize the notes that someone is singing without being concerned about the words? Just the melody?
Maybe, I mean,
Have you done anything like that?
yeah, I don't know, but it takes it takes into like digital signal processing and stuff. So I mean, I know some of the apps, but this is not just a glass thing; it's a general thing where there are pitch detectors. So, but that would be like heavy processing. You have to record the voice and work on the samples. So again, glass might heat up. Thank you. Yes, thank you.